As the war in Ukraine enters an increasingly dynamic phase, a new question arises. What if Italy decides to deploy its Centauro combat vehicles to the front lines? Is this 8-wheeled vehicle tough enough to withstand the brutal intensity of the conflict, and could its presence shift the dynamics of the battlefield against Russia's increasingly advanced military capabilities? Centauro, or more precisely Centauro B1, is not a new vehicle. It started development in the 1980s as a solution to the Italian Army's need for a fast, flexible, and more maneuverable tank destroyer compared to conventional tanks. In some ways, Centauro can be considered Europe's answer to the modern warfare needs for high mobility, significant firepower, yet still being cost-effective and logistically flexible. This vehicle is designed to move quickly across semi-urban terrain, open areas, and unstable rural environments. If we imagine the vast geographical conditions of Ukraine, full of damaged roads, open fields, and light forested areas, this becomes especially relevant. Therefore, Centauro is in the right place to maximize its potential. Although it is not a frontal tank, like the Abrams or Leopard 2, it can be a hunter and destroyer from a distance. Its main armament is equipped with a standard NATO 105mm cannon, capable of destroying enemy medium-class armored combat vehicles, such as the BMP-3, BTR-80, and older tanks like the T-62 or T-72, which are still used in some fronts. This weapon is highly accurate and can be used for both direct combat and medium-range support attacks. Well, in terms of mobility, there is no doubt this is the main advantage of the vehicle. On flat roads, it can reach speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour. This is very fast for a heavy combat vehicle. Even with an 8-wheel drive system, the Centauro is capable of maneuvering in difficult terrains such as muddy fields or Ukrainian village roads filled with rubble and artillery craters. This allows it to ambush, attack, and exit danger zones efficiently. Meanwhile, the operational range of this vehicle can reach up to 800 kilometers with a full tank of fuel. This means, in the context of the Ukraine war, the Centauro can move from Kyiv to Kharkiv without needing to be transported by truck or refueled. Such strategic mobility is extremely useful for filling defense gaps, deploying rapid units, or conducting combat rotations without a high reliance on logistics. However, what about its latest version? Centauro 2 is an upgrade from version B1, featuring a 120mm cannon, reinforced armor, and an active protection system, or APS. If this version is sent to Ukraine, the impact would be much greater, as it could face modern Russian tanks like the T-90M. From the protection side, the Centauro is indeed not a heavy tank. Its weight is only about 24 tons, half of that of the Leopard 2, and its armor is strong enough to withstand 14.5mm caliber bullets, heavy machine guns, and shrapnel from artillery. The modern version even has additional modular protection and an automatic smoke grenade launcher, which can disrupt enemy targeting systems, including from drones. In modern warfare, superiority is determined not only by armor or cannons, but also by advanced sensors and fire control systems. This vehicle is equipped with computerized systems, laser rangefinders, thermal cameras, and night vision. The crew can detect enemies in low light or foggy conditions, which is certainly a crucial requirement in the Ukrainian landscape, which is often foggy, cold, or filled with explosion dust. During operations, the crew inside the Centauro vehicle consists of 4 people: the commander, the driver, the shooter, and the ammunition loader. Their cabin is integrated into the control system, allowing for rapid coordination when the situation changes drastically. And let's not forget the ergonomic factor. This vehicle is relatively comfortable compared to tanks, making the crew more capable of enduring long operations without extreme fatigue. In tactical simulations, the Centauro is very ideal for fast attacks on enemy positions, convoy destruction, sabotage operations, or rear-line security missions. In the Ukraine war, where Russia has begun to expand the use of light armored vehicles, drones, and mobile missile systems, the Centauro could serve as a smart and flexible counterbalance. For example, if Ukraine uses reconnaissance drones to identify Russian logistical movements, then the Centauro can be rapidly deployed to that location to strike the target before it can be moved. This is an asymmetric warfare style that includes speed, coordination, and surprise. However, related to this, like other vehicles, the Centauro is not without its weaknesses. If it encounters anti-tank missiles, such as the Kornet or kamikaze drones like the Lancet, which have proven effective in the field, this vehicle can also suffer severe damage or be destroyed. That is why the Centauro must be supported with smart tactics, rather than being used like a heavy tank, which holds the front line for days. Therefore, this is where the role of integration comes in, with the C for IS or System of Command, Control, Communications, Computers, Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance being very important. If Ukraine can integrate Centauro into the modern tactical ecosystem, then this vehicle could become a very dangerous and adaptive weapon. Imagine a scenario where a group of Centauro are hiding behind the forest, receiving enemy coordinates from NATO satellites or Ukrainian drones, and then attacking a Russian convoy that has just moved out of a fuel depot. Within 5 minutes, it's all over, the enemy is crushed, and the Centauro disappeared before retaliation can occur. In terms of logistics, the Centauro is also cheaper than other Western tanks. Its price per unit is significantly lower than that of the Abrams, Leopard, or Challenger. This makes it more realistic to be donated in large numbers. On the battlefield, numbers are strength. If Ukraine receives 50 to 100 Centauro units, they could form a new rapid maneuver unit that can move across the front with high speed and firepower. Victory in war is not only about having the best weapons, but also about how the crew uses them. The Centauro, if used correctly, can certainly be a significant differentiator in many combat scenarios. Ukraine could position it as a pressure unit in vulnerable areas, disrupt enemy supply lines, or support counterattacks in dynamic fronts such as Zaporizhia or Donetsk. Although, currently Italy has not officially sent the Centauro to Ukraine, if that decision is made, this vehicle will be part of a wave of European military support that is beginning to send offensive systems, not just defensive ones. If Italy finally sends it there, we could see the real Centauro battle debut on a large scale, a new chapter in the history of European combat vehicles. Because sometimes, it's not the biggest or the strongest that wins, but who is the fastest, the smartest, and the most ready to adapt, and that is Centauro.